Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mystery Sports Pod. And as we know, Micheal Carrick is the interim for Manchester United for the remainder of the season. So around 11 o'clock today, there were pictures of Micheal Carrick being arriving to Carrington at the Carrington Training Complex. And oh, not on there. There we go. So bad. Yeah, so as we know, Carrick was pitched at the training around 11 o'clock today, and there was obviously why would Carrick just be at Carrington? He's probably gonna be the manager, and, you know, I think we all kind of knew from yesterday. Fabrizio Romano was kind of tweeting it about, saying that Michael Carrick has got an agreement in place with Manchester United, but here we go, we'll take that as we got. Here we go was today from Fabrizio. Um, obviously Carrick is the interim. What can we, see from Carrick and just a bit of background of his managerial kind of, aspects? We all know how good of a player he was for United, since joining from 2006 and then retired into 2018. So he was a fantastic player for obviously United themselves. And just a couple of stats on Michael Carrick. So, he managed 136 games at Middlesbrough, and that was from 2021 to 2022, sorry, I should say, till 2024. He won 64 games, 24 draws, and 49 losses. We averaged a 1.5 points per game. It doesn't sound amazing, like he's not getting 2 something above, in each game, but, they from where Middlesbrough were, they weren't really challenging for promotion and things, and with Michael Carrick, they were up there. They were, I'm pretty sure they were like second, floating between that kind of second and fourth place, and then moving fourth into the playoff positions. Unfortunately, they lost in the qualifiers for the playoff final. So, and I mean, the playoff final we know is very hard to obviously go and win because the 4 teams in there are all very strong, teams that contend very well. I can't see the live chat. I don't know if you guys are there. Why can't I see the chat? Let me know. Why can't I see the chat? I can't see the chat. Never mind. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about that. But yeah. So and then he obviously was at Manchester United, before Ralph Rangnick took over as caretaker as well in 2022. Um, there. And obviously he had 3 games in charge for United, 2 wins, 1 draw, so unbeaten as the interim, could you say, as United. Can he maintain his unbeaten record against City? Hopefully he can. His 2 wins were against Arsenal at home in the Premier League and 1 Champions League game. I remember I was at that Arsenal game and Ronaldo scored 2 for the penalty spot, 3-2 there. Brilliant game there, and I think if you remember David De Gea, there was a lot of controversy with Fred stepping on David De Gea's foot and Smith Rowe having a, like, shooting from miles out, and obviously there was no keeper in the net, and, there was all controversy there. The 1 draw was against Chelsea, and that was a 1-1 draw in the Premier League. I think when you're playing 2 teams like Arsenal and Chelsea and, you've not lost as and being an interim, not really a first team coach, obviously, I think it's you're not too you've not done 4 points out there. Obviously now it's a complete different kettle of fish because Chelsea are a completely different team. Arsenal are probably looking like they're gonna win the league, so it's all, um, it's a much different time for when Carrick gets into the United job, and, the United team is completely different to what he had, um, when he took over from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Um, in terms of how he will be in the club. Obviously, he's United, and I think he said in an interview he'd drop everything to become the United manager and help the club out, which is obviously wonderful to hear and things. But at the same time, we kind of got to make sure that we don't get stuck into a situation that we did with Ollie. The results may go our way. We might start winning 8 games. We might go jump ahead and say give him a full time job. I don't want to see him get the full time job. I don't think he's good enough to have a full time job. I'd rather see someone like Tuchel, Ancelotti, or Glasner, or Iraola from Bournemouth to get the job. I think they'd do the job then. What Michael Carrick will do, no disrespect to him, I just don't think he's that elite manager that United need to get back to the winning way. I hope it works out for him. Obviously, within the remainder of the season, he will be the manager to the end of the season. So hopefully, he can just restore some stability of the United, get them playing with confidence and freedom. I think Michael Carrick will do that. Um, how do we set up? So in terms of how I think that Michael Carrick will do and how read over the side and stuff, they play a 4-2-3-1, so very similar to how Ollie played, Ten Hag and Fletcher in previous 2 games we've had with him have played. So I'm gonna read what I think would be our potential squad that we would see players fully fit and with the players obviously with, kinda being injured and stuff like that. So I'll read out the first one, which would be the players we've currently got now. So Lemon's in net, Shaw or Dargu as the left backs, Martinez and Heaven as the 2 centre halves, Dalot as the right back, Casemiro and Mainu as the 2 CDMs, Cunha, Bruno, and Mbeumo as the 3, obviously Cunha on the left, Mbeumo on the right, Šeško up top. So I think if we're going into this City game, this is probably a line that I would expect to see. However, if let's say we were to have all the players back, fully fit and everything ready to go, I think we'd go Shaw or Dorgu. I think it's really hard to pick between them 2. Obviously, Lemons is the keeper, then Martinez and De Ligt as the centre back pairing, Martinez on the left sided and as the right sided. Mazraoui as the right back. I think Mazraoui defensively is sounder, and I think he's better on the ball than Diego Dalot. I think he's one of the players in the summer that we've got to get rid of. Casemiro and Mainu has to stay in that midfield. Cunha on the left, Bruno as the 10. I would go Ahmad on the right, Mbeumo up top. I just think Mbeumo used to the Premier League, knows what he's doing. I think he's much better than Šeško, but I think if Šeško can bring on some form and carry on playing better, then, you know, Šeško has all right to, push for that starting spot as the number 9, and I think that could happen. These 3 2 games, you know, if he keeps building on that, gets a goal against City, then, you know, no one can really argue with it, and if he starts putting the chances, they're like the easy chances, like the header he hands against Brighton, and then, you know, you're there like, "Well, we've got a striker who can put the ball in the back of the net." There's just one concern that I would have in that team is that the midfield 2 just looks very weak, you know, having only really Casemiro and Maguire who aren't very good on the ball or have the quality to play that 2 holders there. It just shows that the main priority in the summer has to be a midfielder or a CDM or someone who can play that box to box kind of position. I just think, you know, having someone there like Elliot Anderson or Adam Wharton will just give United a bit more stability and just a bit more kind of we can we don't have to worry about when we're getting counter attack. We've got someone there who we know can do a job there and can clean up defensively. Like Casemiro 5 years ago would have been perfect in that position. But, you know, Casemiro now he's probably gonna retire and he's probably another player who I would say needs to leave the club. Obviously, he has massive wages, so if he leaves the club, then, you know, maybe that financial element of it brings us down and things, so it should be good. And then just in terms of the objectives that I would like to see Michael Carrick do, I think getting your European football is a minimum, Europa League is a minimum because, you know, we've only got that left, and ideally, I would say he has to get Champions League football. With only the league to focus on, as I said just to them, we've gotta go all out for it. Every game's gotta be a cup final. I know it's only January, but it has to be a cup final, and every game we've gotta win everything, or we've gotta not lose a game or drop points against silly teams like Wolves, Bournemouth, yeah, the Bournemouth game. Bournemouth aren't the best of sides this year, obviously defensively not that great. Leeds is another one where we shouldn't really be drawing 1-1, you know, with the quality that we have on paper compared to them, we should be winning that game. Burnley, like, shouldn't be drawing away from home against Burnley. Burnley are 19th, gonna go down. I think we'll go down. But, you know, there are elements to where United can do well, and hopefully it does go well and we get that Champions League spot. I think United will finish 5th under Carrick, and I think it will become a Champions League spot, obviously with Arsenal, City, Liverpool, and yeah, just them 3 in the Champions League. So if obviously they do well, which I think they will do well, then that, spot comes available 5th place spot comes available for the Premier League, and I think United will finish 5th If we get 4th, brilliant, brilliant. If we get 4th, but I just think with United, let's say we were to get Champions League, we can't jump the gun and say, "Carrick, here's your contract, you're the full-time manager," 'cause I just don't think he's good enough. I'd rather go with someone like, Ancelotti, Glasner, or, um Iriola from Bournemouth. Obviously, the Ancelotti house, there's news coming out now. I think it's a huge thing for Ancelotti if he were to come to United. I don't think he would realistically, but, you've gotta put his name in there just because of the hype around him and the manager who he is. And then just to finally finish off, we've got obviously the backroom staff was confirmed today who we will be there. So Steve Holland will be Carrick's number 2. So that was Gareth Southgate's number 2 at England. Hopefully get Steve Holland and Gareth Southgate don't get the job because that'd be dreadful if that were to happen. I think with the Steve Holland appointment, it's a bit of a weird one. Why have we actually gone for Steve Holland? Because they've never worked together, Carrick and Steve Holland. So maybe Steve Holland and Carrick have a good relationship. Maybe that's why he wants to bring him in, help United out. So that's Carrick's decision. Johnny Evans has remained on and will be, I think, defensive coach. He will probably be the defensive coach for Carrick. Um, there are the under 21 manager. What's his name? I forgot his name. His name up now. Let me just get his name up. My bad. His name is. If I can see. Um, yeah. So his name is Travis Beanham. Obviously, the under 21 coach at the moment. Was Fletcher's assistant whilst Fletcher was in charge. He will be there as well. And then Jonathan Woodgate, um, who was the Middlesbrough assistant manager when Carrick was there. So, he will be, obviously the 3rd coach there, and obviously Johnny Evans as well as Steve Holland. So hopefully it can go well. I think it we will see the ship getting settled, and hopefully that United can just get Champions League football. Now with just the league to focus on, we've gotta get results on the board, and we can't be dropping points against those local league sides. But yeah, that is everything on Carrick. I will be doing a preview for the Manchester derby, so probably Friday I'll record that, not then. But yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, have a like on the video, please, and yeah, catch you all in a bit.